गोपीजनवल्लभा गिरिवरधारी गोपीजना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्णा Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radha Vrindavan Chandra Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Govinda Govinda Venkataramana Govinda Srinivasa Govinda Sri Venkatesa Govinda Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्रिषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Today I have been requested to speak on a very important topic of avyartha kalatvam, not wasting time. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are two tests given, and they are self-test for ourselves to check whether you are successful in life or not. One test is during your lifespan, and another test is at the end of your life. It is said, whatever activities you do, dharmasvanashtita pumsam vishvaksena katasyaha na utpadayet yadiratim shramayeva hi kevalam. That's one of the verses. It says that your daily activities which you do as prescribed duties, you are a student or you are a man working in some profession, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, these are all varnas, correct, no? Teacher or administrator or trader or laborer or whatever. This profession over time should awaken love for God. So you may wonder, how can a profession awaken love for God? The profession is mundane. Love for God is divine. You may wonder, but what happens when you do the profession? Your psychophysical nature is engaged in a particular direction, and then you earn your livelihood. You you are the breadwinner for the family, and then you maintain your family, mother, father, wife, children, everybody. Mm. But in the course of performing one's profession, one faces many inevitabilities in life. Huh? For example, one gets disease, one's family members get disease, one gets quarrels, misunderstandings with in interpersonal clashes while living in this world. Sometimes there are sudden losses, like some thievery or some accidents, or some near and dear one dies, or there is a flood, or unexpected rains which ruined the field. Which means every living being in this world definitely experiences pleasure and pain, victory and defeat, honor and dishonor, profit and loss. So when such things happen, certainly if one is pious, then one will turn to God. If one is not pious, then one will be struggling on one's own to set right the things and getting more and more frustrated, or one may commit suicide, or one may try to resort to irreligious practices. Either you be religious or you're going to be irreligious. You have to take one direction, correct? No? Whenever one faces losses. So, like for example, living being, if one is not godly, then one is going to be greedy. You will see that. If one is not saintly, then one is going to be lusty. So you will see that there is no another way. There are two roads always available. So then one walks a religious path, a religious path. No one can say that I will neither do religion nor religion and I will take a neutral path. That's not possible. Naikashchik kshanamapi jatu tishthatya karmagrat karyate hi avashak karma sarvah prakriti jai guna. Krishna says, at every moment the living being is active. Active in what? Either active in religious principles or in irreligious activities. Even if you take a neutral stand for a while, you can't stick on to the neutral stand for a long time. You will see that. So therefore, if one indulges in irreligious activities, one gets several kicks, and that is called as learning from the school of hard knocks. Then one will come to senses, maybe in this life or in many lifetimes. One comes to good senses after suffering a lot. That is not a very smart way. It is said, experience is the best teacher, but a fool learns by no other way. It is said. So, but intelligent people hear and learn. And those are not so intelligent, they hear and they see others suffering and then they learn. And some people, they hear, they see, but they have to experience themselves. Only then they learn. Some people, even after experiencing, they don't learn, which means they need more kicks. Then only they will learn. Isn't it? So in this way, ultimately every jiva gets an opportunity to learn either easy way or hard way to come to the religious path. And then when one comes to the religious path, then there are a lot of formularies, rituals. In the path of religion, you all have heard before, ascending from the path of fear, desire, duty, love, correct? No? So somebody practices religion out of fear, somebody practices out of duty, or most of the people due to desire. They want to get something from God. They do, which is not a very great religion. God is giving food even to atheistic people who don't go to church or go to temple. Because everybody ultimately is his child, he provides for them. Even although they don't deserve it, still he provides for them, just because they happen to be his children. Therefore, an intelligent person doesn't go to God for demanding something. He actually surrenders to God out of love. An intelligent person asks, what can I do for him? He has done so much for me. And that's where the true religion begins. When you ask the question, what can I do for God? He has done so much for me, so being grateful to Him. And then that gradually comes to the point of love of God. As one um, develops the eagerness to offer a flower, fruit, or something to God. So therefore he says, na utpadiye yadi ratim shrama yevahi kevalam. If your prescribed duties don't bring you to the point of love of God, those prescribed duties are simply a vain attempt in life. It's like beating an empty husk. You are not getting anything in life. So most of the students, you ask them, why do you go to college? They will say that, you know, I have to get a job. Why do you need a job? I want money. Why do you need money? Some of them may say, because that's how I can eat, drink, and be merry. Or some of them may say, I have to give money to parents. And they don't know anything beyond that. This platform is actually Tamaguna platform. Mode of ignorance means you just want to get a job for money and nothing more than that. So therefore the goal of human life, goal of education is totally forgotten in the modern times. In the Vedic times, the goal of education was, the word educare means to bring out that which is already within you. What is that within you? Love of God is already within you. To awaken that love of God. And while doing that, side by side, you do a profession which also fetches you money for food, clothing, shelter, and everything. Like a Brahmana, for example. He is enduring on the path of love of God. But his charity is arranged for him by God's, arrangement. So he gets his food, clothing, shelter, which is taken care of side by side while pursuing his study of the Shastra and speaking. Like myself also you take. I am studying Shastra and speaking. But side by side, all my needs are taken care. Correct, no? You will see like that. Prabhupada went to America with empty hands. But everything was arranged for him because he was pursuing the Brahminical activity of studying and preaching the scriptures. Correct, no? When you do that. So now Kshatriya, again, he also is pursuing the path of God. How? He has to protect the people, and punish the vicious ones, protect the virtuous, punish the vicious, and then make a law and order in alignment with God, and also create welfare activities on behalf of God for all the creatures. So he also is acting on behalf of God, and then people pay taxes to him, 25% of their earning. You will see that. So again, he is also acting for the path of God. Vaishya, he protects the cows, Krishi Goraksha Vanijyam. And then he also tills the land and cultivates the field and grows. So he has to do his profession. And then he does the trading or barter system. Barter system in those days, it's exchange of one commodity with another commodity. Because the whole world is filled with varieties of commodities. Like you cultivate mung dal and give me, and I'll cultivate rice and give you. Correct, no? Similarly, you give me vegetables and I'll give you fruits. So this barter system, ultimately both are gifts of God. And we are exchanging the gifts of God, what God has given us. So people working in the field naturally know that none of this can come without his glance. Without God's glance and grace, nothing can be produced in this world. So, and protecting the cow is a mother, one of the 7 mothers. So then again, he is also engaged in the religious path. You will see that. And the Shudra is assisting the previous 3 classes. And assisting them means they are walking religious path and he is assisting them. So naturally, he is also walking religious path. You will see that. So naturally, these 4 classes of people would go to temple. Like Kshatriya never goes to war without going to temple and praying to God, isn't it? The Brahmana's day begins with prayer to God. The Vaishya, as soon as he produces grains in the field, he first offers to Vishnu. The first yield offers to Vishnu, only then he takes. So in this way, the profession is centered around God, and it produces gradually purification of heart. What is purification of heart? Giving up this proprietorship mentality, controllership mentality, enjoyership mentality. So what are the equivalents? Lust, anger, greed. Proprietorship is equal to which one? Kama, Krodha, Lobha. Yes? Lobha, greed. And controllership mentality? Anger. And enjoyership mentality? Last. So these three are the three gateways to hell. So one gives up, I am not the proprietor, everything belongs to Krishna. I am not the controller. I am a controller, but minute controller. Krishna is the supreme controller. And I am not the enjoyer. Everything is created for Krishna's enjoyment. Let me serve him. Let me not exploit and enjoy. Let me serve him. So this way they get purified by that profession gradually, by offering the things to Krishna. Sve sve karmani abhiratah samsiddhim labate narah swakarmah niratah siddhim yata vindati tachruno yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tamabhyarcha siddhim vindati manavah. Is telling Sve sve karmani abhiratah, according to your profession, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, do your duties. Samsiddhim labhate naraha. You can attain perfection in life, is telling. Swa karma niratah siddhim. You don't have to give up your profession. You are a student, be a student and study. You are working, do your work. He says, Swa karma niratah means be engaged in your work. Yatha vindati tachunu. How to attain perfection, I will tell you, Krishna says. And then he is saying, Yatha pravritir bhutanam. That Supreme Lord from whom everything has emanated. He should be served, he says. Like the root of the tree from which the whole tree has sprung up. So the root should be watered. Because if we water the root of the tree, then the whole tree will be nourished. But if you forget the root of the tree or you cut that root away and keep it away from the tree, and the whole tree will dry out. Yataha pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam. Everything you see in this world has emanated from him. And then swakarmana tam abhyarchya. With your work, you should worship him, he says. Siddhim vindati manavaha. That's how the human beings can attain perfection, he is saying. So then how to worship him? There is karma yoga, jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga. But the ultimate is bhakti yoga. Karma yoga use the senses, jnana yoga use the mind, ashtanga yoga use the intelligence, and bhakti yoga, you lose your heart to God. I lost my heart in Vrindavan. That is bhakti yoga. Correct? In this way, which is the most wholesome path? Bhakti yoga. Because when you give your heart, your intelligence, mind, senses, all of them run along with the heart. Correct? No? But if you give only the senses, then mind and intelligence and heart are engaged elsewhere. So after giving your heart to the Lord in the form of bhakti yoga, continue your profession. Do your profession. Then your profession is successful, he says. Like Murari Gupta, he was a doctor, but he was a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu said, if anybody thinks he's a doctor, he's an offender, he said. Like we have Dwarkadesh Prabhu, Vishwarup Prabhu and all, correct, no? Or you see Krishna Chandra Prabhu, if somebody thinks he's just a businessman, Ajaydev Prabhu. These people are congregation devotees, they are grihasthas, they have family. They look like externally having some profession or business, but their heart is in Krishna consciousness, fully. Ambarish Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, when you look at them, you think of them more as a king or as a Krishna devotee. Ambarish Maharaj, Yudhishthira Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, or Arjuna. As soon as you see them, what is standing out? Their devoteehood or the kinghood? Yeah. Because Savaimana Krishna Padaravindayor Pachamsi Vaikunta Gunanuvarnane Karo Harer Mandira Marjana Adishu Shrutim Chakara Achyuta Satkatodaye Mukunda Lingalaya Darshane Drishau Tatprityagatras Parshenga Sangamam Pranam Chatatpada Saroja Saurabe Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tadarpite Pado Hare Kshetra Padanu Sarpane Shiro Krishi Kesha Pada Vivandane Kamam cha dasye na tu kama kamya yaduttama shloka gunashraya rati. This is a verse about Ambarish Maharaj. He was engaging his mind in Krishna's lotus feet by chanting the holy name. And he was also hearing the Krishna Katha with his ears. With his eyes, he was seeing the beauty of the deities. With his hands, he was cleansing the temple. Seva, he was doing the cleaning service. And also with his mouth, he was eating the prasadam offered to Lord with tulasi. And he was also touching the feet of the devotees, pure devotees of the Lord. And with his legs, he was walking to the temple. And with his hands, as I told you, he was rendering service or dancing and singing, isn't it? Yeah. And in this way, lastly, he says, Kamam Chadasya. He brought all his desires under his control. And he didn't become a slave of his desires. And in this way, he says that Ambarish Maharaj became a Goswami. So he was a king, but a Goswami king, saintly king. Correct, no? Yudhishthira was also like that. So these people are such pure devotees. When Yudhishthira Maharaj became king of the world, Sutta Goswami is asking Shaunaka the rishis, what did he do? Now that he has got the power and post and position and wealth and gold and silver and whole world at his disposal, what did he do? What did he do? He became Krishna conscious, that's all. He said, Yudhishthira Maharaj divided the world into parts and told the 5 Pandavas, you all take over the world and you rule. And he went to temple. And he was chanting, and he was associating with saintly persons to increase his love of God. And he was only available for his brothers. And in the ruling of the world, his brothers would want to know from him, is it religious to do like this? Or is it irreligious to do like that? They wanted to get confirmation from him for certain decisions they made. For that he was available. Otherwise his heart was sold out to Krishna completely. So yes, he was king of the world. Even Shivaji Maharaj, if you see, he spent so much time meeting saintly people, correct now? He would meet Tukaram, he would meet Samarth Ramdas. And he used to talk many religious things to his mother also, and his ministers also. On one hand, he was a protector. On the other hand, he was a practitioner of religious principles. And he was a corrector of the evil also, correct now? Protector of the religious, corrector of the evil, practitioner of religion, correct now? That is saintly king. You will see that. In this way, their profession was awakening love for God. You will see that. And this is during the life. At the end of life, it says, Ante Narayana Smriti or Antakalecha. That is another test at the time of death. If you are going to leave the body, is your consciousness sufficiently developed to remember the Lord, His pastimes, His qualities, and you are absorbed in affection for Him? Or there are people who even at the age of 80 or 85, I saw one man was watching TV, cricket from morning to night he is watching. Morning 10 o'clock to evening 8 o'clock. And as soon as somebody puts a sixer, he will jump up from his seat. See. So I thought this fellow is going to die very soon. He's already 80 plus. But when he dies, how many of you surely feel that he will get one more body? You correct now? Why he will get one more body? Because he has to play cricket now. The next body. Because whatever desires are there in your mind, accordingly you will get a body where you can engage your body in doing that activity. So, actually, when you are a child, you are attracted to toys. When you are a boy, you are attracted to girl. When you are joining a company, you are attracted to making money. And then when you become 40, 45, you need more money, bigger job, fatter salary, and more hard work. Correct, no? And then you do so much hard work, you get sick, and then after you become 50, 60, you are all the time going to naturopathy, allopathy, all kinds of pati except Lakshmipati. Correct, no? Correct? And life goes away like this. That's why Prahlad Maharaj says, it takes 100 years. His Holiness Sachinandan Maharaj came to Chapari temple. He asked, in this temple hall, who is the oldest person? One fellow was like 84, 85. He was like very, very old. He was sitting in the chair, sofa there. So then he called him. So he gave one ribbon, paper ribbon. You hold this on this side, he told. And who is the youngest child in the temple hall? Some 4 or 5-year-old boy was there. So he called. So he gave the other side of the ribbon. So he called one of the devotees and said, as I tell you to cut with the scissor, you can cut, he said. He said, the first 10 years of a child goes in bewilderment. We don't even remember what we were doing. In the first 10 years of our life. So they cut those 10 years. So he cut that 10 years. And the next 10 years of life goes in playing mostly. Playing and studying, correct, no? Because you want to play and parents want you to study. Correct? Na? In that it goes. Because you have to get set in a career. That 10 years goes in that. So you cut 10 more years. And the kid was holding the ribbon came little more near. And the last 20 years of life goes in being bedridden, passing stool and urine in the bed, 80 to 100. It's a very sickly phase of life. Not very, very painful phase. So cut that 20 years. Cut. Now how many years are over? Gone? 20 in the end and 20 in the beginning. For 60 years there. So in the 60 years, he said, many of the people sleep 10, 12 hours. Those who are very lazy, they sleep 10, 12 hours. So he said, 12 hours I have got finished in sleep. So cut that. So 30 were cut. So how many are remaining?
30.
Yeah, 30 are remaining. So in that 30, in daily 12 hours, at least 10 hours a man goes for a job. Correct now? So if you cut, that means 10 out of 12 means 5/6. Correct now? So 5/6 of 30 is how much? 25. So cut 25. When he did that, only 5 years were remaining. So practically the old man was catching that small boy like this they were holding. So he said, at least it's 5 years give for God. He said, in your life. That means, this is what Prahalad says this. Most part of our life goes away in different things like this. So it's not that we are giving all our life for God. Most of the time goes in that. You will see like this. Prahalad is calculating like this. He's telling his friends, my dear friends, our life has so many things. Like we have 24 hours in a day, correct? No? What brahmacharis do, in 24 hours you divide it into 8, 8, 8. 8 hours for soul, 8 hours for body, 8 hours for paropakar, welfare for the world. Now, in 8 hours, how we spend for the body? 6 hours sleep at night, and 2 hours for shaving, brushing, bathing, eating prasad, washing clothes, correct? No? In all these things, 2 hours per day. Because 3 times you have to eat prasad. So each time, if you take 20 minutes, 1 hour goes in that. Another 1 hour for bathing and shaving and nail clipping, washing clothes and all those things. So 8 hours are over, correct? For the body. And 8 hours for the soul, how? The morning program, 4:30 to 9:30, how many hours? 5 hours. Then another 1.5 hours brahmachari class, and another 1.5 hours self-study of the scriptures. So how many hours over? 8 hours over. And the balance 8 hours are for missionary activities, for upakar. And if somebody is not a brahmachari, a grihastha, then those 8 hours go for duty, job. So then the weekend they will enter some service. Correct now? And some grihasthas were very intelligent. They know how to reduce the needs of the body and mind in such a way that evenings also they come and do some service. But otherwise the weekend they give. So in this way our 24 hours should be divided for body, for the soul, and for missionary activities. That's how we are supposed to spend, ideally speaking. So the Chanakya Niti, one shloka Chanakya says, Ayusha kshana ekopi na labhya swarna koti bihi. He says, one moment lost cannot be revived back, even if you are ready to give a million gold coins, he's saying. Even if you say, I will give 1,000 gold coins, please give me 1 hour back. Can you get it back? No. It's like if you jumped off from a building, again you cannot go back. Already you are out. Correct, no? Similarly, time once spent cannot be brought back. And not only that, if you are born in this point, our expiry date is this point, we all are slowly consuming the time span allotted for us. Correct, no? Like say you have a tomato, you hold it like this. From here up to the ground, that is the time space we are allowed. If you leave it, the tomato is coming towards the ground. As it approaches this much, that much distance has lapsed. When it touches the ground, it will splash. Correct, no? Similarly, our body will also splash at one point of time. That's called, what do you call that as? Death. And then the body is taken to the graveyard for burning. Correct, no? But this is a span allotted for us. In that span, you decide what you want to do. How you want to spend your life. You can spend it a quality life, or you can waste that life. The choice is yours. Like one father had 3 sons. He was thinking, which son is the responsible son he wanted to know. So he gave them thousand rupees and told them that I'm going out for a month. When I come back, I'm giving you guys one room each. Fill up these 3 rooms fully, but you should not spend the money more than 1,000. But with this 1,000 rupees, you can fill up the room. He said, when I come back, you can show me. So when he returned back, you know, the youngest son, he saw, he said, Father, I have filled up the room fully. Come, I'll show you. So he opened the door. As soon as he opened the door, so much of this, he had filled up the room with donkey stool. You know, it was packed in the room completely. So he said, Father, I didn't have to even spend 1,000 rupees. I just spent about 300 rupees. And I could completely fill up the room, he said. Father, it was thinking, he said, close the door, close the door. Then he went to the second room and he opened the door. He had filled up the room with hay. You know, hay? Busa, no? Hay. He had filled up the room with hay. He also said, Father, I spent only 300, 400 rupees. Full room of hay I got, he said. The third room he went. That boy opened the door and called the father inside. He had kept a beautiful picture of like this, Radheshyamdas. And he had kept a table. I mean, there was a Bhagavad Gita with some flowers. There was a lamp lit up. And there was asana for sitting. He said, Father, I come to this room every day and I chant the holy names and I read the Bhagavad Gita. This is what I do. And he gave a seat for the father to sit. And then he said, Father, according to me, we have to fill up our time, fill up our energy, fill up our lives with devotion to God. And there is nothing greater in world than this. And he said, I spent just 100 rupees, that's all. I bought a picture, I bought a mala, I bought a Bhagavad Gita, everything balance he gave to father. Father said, make this fellow the leader of the home. He's an intelligent fellow. He knows how to fill up his time. So, in the same manner, you will see that all of us right now feel that we have ample of time. But you will see in the Bhagavatam examples of people who faced a crunch of time. There was one fellow who was in the heavenly planets assisting demigods in fighting against asuras, demons. And the war went on and on and on for many years. At last the demons were defeated and they had to flee for their lives. And demigods won the battle. And because of this king. So they asked this king, his name was Katwanga, King Katwanga. So they were very pleased with the king. They said, what boon would you like to take from us? Would you like to take some gold or silver or diamond or golden chariots or horses or elephants or apsaras? Whatever you ask, we will provide you. Or you can live in heaven for long duration of life along with us. We'll provide you any gift you want. Anything within this world of mortals, you ask us, we can provide you. Krite Kaivalyam, except liberation. Everything else we can provide you here. And he was an intelligent king, he was a devotee king. So he told demigods, I don't want any of these things. They are all temporary. They are all perishable commodities. And they also weaken the power of our senses. And eventually we get old. What earthly gain can one enjoy? He said, I only want to know one thing. Please tell me how much time duration I have to reach my date of death. They immediately looked at his horoscope and the Panchanga they checked. They said, oh, we are very sorry to tell you, you only have one muhurta, they said. One muhurta means something like 45 minutes or 50 minutes. It's a short time. As soon as the king heard, he didn't speak a word. Immediately he flew from the heavenly planets to earth, entered the palace, went to the puja room, took his japa beads and started chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Very, very honestly he chanted. And within that one muhurta, he purified his heart and went back to God. Can you imagine? This is said in one verse in Bhagavatam. Khatvango nama raja rishi jnatve yuttam iha yushaha Muhurtat sarvamutsrujya gatavan abhayam harim. It is said, gatavan abhayam harim means went to the safest place, which is Vaikunta, to the lotus feet of Lord Hari. In that one muhurta, it is said. Now, why was this story told in Bhagavatam? Another fellow who had a very limited time crunch was Parikshit Maharaj. So he was cursed to die in 7 days. So he asked Shukadeva Goswami, sitting in the bank of Ganges, Sir, I only have 7 days allotted for me. See, in Pune, one family called me for Bhagavatam installation program. They were totally new people. I was wondering how they found my address and they called. So when we went to their home, we found they had a small kid. This kid was only about 5 year old, sitting in a chair, completely like fixed in the chair. And the father of the house was telling me that this boy, he is going to die within 1 week. Some peculiar disease, some complicated disease in the body. Already the body is getting eaten up inside. He's going to leave the body in 1 week. 1 week. So, Jai Shri Radheshyamdas ki Jai. And after he said that, he actually took me to the next room and he told me. Then he completely broke down. And he and his wife were weeping and sobbing tears from their eyes. You know, we are so sorry. This is our only child. And that child also got some complicated disease. I don't even remember the name of the disease, he said. Some peculiar disease, because of which he has to leave the body. Some inside, some problem, some part of the body is collapsing inside. So he's going to die. So then I told him the same story of Parikshit, who was destined to die in 7 days. I said, see, in this world, everybody is destined to live for some period of time. Some people live Alpayush. Alpayush means below 30 years. Madhyayush means 30 to 60. And Dirghayush means 60 to 90 or 60 to 100. So you don't know what is put on your, written on your forehead by Brahma. It's called Brahma Lipi, we call it. It's written for you, how long you will live. Like there was one boy in VIT college, very good boy. His name is Lakshya. So 1 year, the first year I remember, we used to attend the programs and answering all the questions and everything, very enthusiastic. He was only able to live almost another 3-4 months he lived after the first year. Suddenly he passed away. He had some health complication, some asthmatic or something like that. His mother knew that. He was taking medicines also, but at one point of time, just passed away. And father came, mother was completely shattered, everything. So you will see that there is Alpayush, some people are Madhyayush, some people die between. During COVID, one of the community members was a 32-year-old boy, he passed away. So 30 to 60 also people pass, or 60 to 100. Some people live longer also, but even if you live long, you can't live forever, correct? Na? At certain time you have to quit. So somebody think, well, he died, thank God I didn't die. He died, I didn't die. And you will also die one day, correct? Everybody has to leave the body one day. So I told that family the same thing. See, Parikshit Maharaj had to leave the body in 7 days. Now you can't do anything with this decaying body, perishing body. The child is going to go. Do the best what you can. What you can do, you can put on the kirtans. You can keep Krishna Katha daily in the home. And also you can lit up the lamp and make the child offer some lamp for the Radha Damodar. You can offer, feed him prasadam, and if you can take him in a chair or something, bring him to temple and show him darshan of the deities, and let him be surrounded by good vibration. So I told her, you can do, these are practical things you can do. Correct, no? Hope for the best and be prepared for the worst. So therefore, Shukadeva Goswami quoted Parikshit's example. He told Parikshit, hey Parikshit, Katwanga Raja had only one muhurt. In one muhurt he perfected his life. And you have got how many days? You are better than him. Like that he said. So you don't have to worry. 7 days is more substantial time in which you are sitting at the bank of the holy Ganges, you're hearing Krishna Katha, surrounded by saintly persons. You have nothing to worry. You will perfect your life. So you can easily, 7 days I will tell you the whole Bhagavad Dharma, he said. He told them. So, in this way, for these people, there was a time crunch. And for all of us, what happens? For example, the beginning of the semester, at the end of the semester, there's a difference. At the end of the semester, exam has come very close. Then everybody is splitting the hair and running around. Huh? Now I have to study now. Correct, now? In the beginning of the semester, it appears that you have many long years to go to study, give the exam. Correct, now? At that time, one tends to become very lazy, very slack. Now, when we become lazy and slack, mind also goes to sense gratification. Then one will be playing with YouTube videos, one will be playing with Instagram, one will be playing with Facebook, one will be playing video games. Or nowadays, people get into so many different things, or too much social media communication with friends. And also, one doesn't do one's duty, prescribed duty, which is your study to do. And then one will be spending time with all these things. Then when you tell them to chant, they will say, Puruji, I have no time to chant. Many people say that. Why I have no time to chant? Because I have time for all these things. That means you are filling up our day with busa, with hay, or with donkey stool. Correct, no? Useless things we fill up our day. That's how the day goes off. It is like, you know the story of that rocks, putting in the rocks in a jar, isn't it? It's a big rock, that's a small rock, then there are small stones, then there is sand, then water. So which one should you put first? Biggest rocks we should put first. That is like a chanting of Hare Krishna. That's the first thing we should do in the day. Biggest rock you put. Then you put the smaller rocks. What are they? Your morning prayer, the program of Mangalarti, Narsingharti, Tulsi Arti, and the class. That's the next rocks. And then there are smaller rocks, stones, smaller stones. They are like the daily study chart that you have to fill up. For example, we say morning for Krishna, evening for studies. Correct, no? And in the daytime also, if college gives you any off break period, you should not waste your time hanging around with nonsense boys who will talk all rubbish. Immediately leave and go to library. As soon as there is any interval period, the teacher didn't come, go to library immediately. Because library is a silent zone. Take your book and read there. Correct? Now, don't waste your time. Or do some homework, do some assignment or whatever. So nowadays, many colleges, all the classes don't happen. In a week, I can tell you, out of 6 days in a week, at least 3 days, the college is only half a day. For how many of you it's like that? College is half a day, at least 3 days a week. Okay, at least 2 days a week, half a day. For how many of you? Correct, no? Almost half of them, I think, yeah. Are you in final year, is it? Or which year you are in? Those who raised the hand now, you are in which year? Third year, yeah. Okay, well, first and second year, is it 6 days full from morning to evening? Like morning 8 to evening 5? Is it like that? Yeah? 9 to? 9 to 5. 9 to 5, all the periods are on, or some periods are given off break? Yeah? Some are given break. In a week, how many break periods may be given like that? Approximately. In a week? 6-7 periods. That means on an average 1 period per day. You get, somebody doesn't come, correct, no? Some break you get. That you should immediately go to library. So that's how much time? 45 minutes or 1 hour? 1 hour. So that 1 hour you bonus time Krishna is giving you, apart from morning and evening. So take that bonus, go to library and study, isn't it? So fill up. So how do we fill up our day? We should not fill up. See, there are useless things, then there are harmful things. Correct, no? Like the broken pieces of glass, if you see, they are useless also, but they can be harmful also. If you take them and do like this, they can actually tear your hand. It can bleed. Similarly, social media is useless and also harmful. Initially, we waste our time playing with video games, shooting somebody. Correct. Now we begin with that. It's very playful, but gradually get into YouTube videos, see this, see that, and many pop-ups come. Especially the most famous pop-ups are the sex-related ones. They keep coming up, popping up, popping up, and by mistake you hit one thing and see, and then you start seeing it. Then gradually you feel when you watch more and more and more, one will release semen. One will lose this vital fluid. When you lose the vital fluid, your soul is gone. one drop of semen is formed from 40 drops of blood. You know that? Rasa, Rakta, Majja, Meda, Shukra, Asti, all these different dhatus. The sixth dhatu is blood, seventh dhatu is semen. So one should actually preserve it. One should not release it. See, there are two words used in Sanskrit. One is called as mala, another one is called dhatu. Dhatu should be preserved and mala should be thrown out. Like if mucus comes in the throat or in the nose, you have to keep it or throw it? Throw it. If stool and urine come in the morning when you get, you should preserve it or throw it? Throw it. If you think, I have to pass through, but I am little lazy. No, I will pass later. Should we wait or should we immediately throw it? Immediately we should throw it. That's a mala. Mala should be thrown out. Similarly, you get some wax in the ear, better remove it. So all these 9 holes, whatever dirty things are coming, mala should be thrown out. But the semen is not a mala. It is counted in 7 dhatus. The dhatu should be preserved. Like your asti is also a dhatu, bones. You cut your hand and throw away the bone. Will any fool do that? Similarly, this semen is also a dhatu, should be preserved. So for preserving it, one boy is asking, after releasing it, what to do? Can you put it back in the system? No, you cannot put it. Once it is released, means it's gone out of the system. Can you inject it back into body? He said, no, you cannot do that. That's not possible. Then how now? You have to think about how not to waste it unnecessarily. You are actually spilling something which is very vital for both material and spiritual life. Materially speaking, semen also gives you physical strength also. It gives you freshness, stability, strength, vitality, vigor, adventure, thrill, innovation, creativity, all these things. Physically also. And spiritually, Vichara Shakti, Dharana Shakti, Viveka Buddhi, all these things are preserved when semen is preserved. So, but you will see the social media and all this, watching all these different kinds of things. Some of you may be watching things which may be helpful for your profession also, or your student education or your future career, which is good. I won't say it is bad, but at the same time, you have to be watchful not to get carried away by them. Correct, now? What is the difference between watching and getting carried away? What is the difference? Like, you are watching a beautiful flowing river. That is different than you are thrown into the river and you are dragged away. Isn't it? Isn't it? That is because of attachment. Like, 2 sadhus are walking. They were seeing a fastly flowing river. And suddenly one of the sadhus, see, these 2 sadhus, one was a simple sadhu, one was a little crooked fellow. They had one stainless steel box and a stick and they were walking. And they had a chadar they were using. One sadhu saw one black color blanket flowing in the river and told the other sadhu, hey, please hold my stick and this dabba. Now I will jump into the river and get that blanket and bring. You can dry it and keep it. In winter season, it will be helpful. He said. This fellow said, hey, you can always beg and get some blanket from somebody. Why are you going to the river? But he insisted. So this fellow jumped into the river and chased behind that blanket and caught hold of it. And the sadhu saw he is not coming. Hey, what happened? He said, hey, that is not a blanket, it's a bhalu, he said. Bhalu is a beer. Yeah. So the blanket is catching me, not leaving me. He said. Yeah, he just caught hold of him. The water, he just couldn't come out. Similarly, when you become attached to things, they catch us. Then you're carried away by the current. So are you caught by social media or are you able to take advantage of social media? So you are social media das or social media is your das? This is a question we all have to ask. But most students, what happens, you think? It's the same story with them, correct? They are caught like the Balu caught that sadhu, correct? No? So he couldn't come out, he couldn't escape with his life. So, therefore, in the Bhagavatam, there is a very nice, I'll just show you that verse. Sarva kim na jivanti, vastra kim na shasantyuta, Na khadanti na mehanti.
Karanti na meyanti.
Kim grame pashavo apare.
Kim grame pashavo pare.
So he's saying, do the trees not live? Do the bellows of the blacksmith not breathe? All around us, do the beasts not eat and discharge semen? He's asking. And then he's saying, the materialistic man of the modern age will argue that life or part of it is never meant for discussion of theosophical or theological arguments. Life is meant for the maximum duration of existence for eating, drinking, and sexual intercourse, making merry and enjoying life. The modern man wants to live forever by the advancement of material science, and there are many foolish theories for prolonging life to the maximum duration. But the Srimad Bhagavatam affirms that life is not meant for so-called economic development or advancement of materialistic science, for the hedonistic philosophy of eating, mating, drinking, and merrymaking. Life is solely meant for tapasya, or purifying one's existence so that one may enter into eternal life just after the end of the human form of life. The materialists want to prolong life by using some ventilators and all that as much as possible because they have no information of the next life. They want to get maximum comforts in this present life because they think conclusively that there is no life after death. They think like that. Shri Radheshyamdas ki jai. This ignorance about the eternity of the living being and the change of covering in the material world has played havoc in the structure of modern human society. Consequently, there are many problems multiplied by various plans of modernized man. The plans for solving the problems of society have only aggravated the troubles. Recently, one boy has made a study of how suicides have increased in the last 10 years. Divorce rate has increased. Number of gun sales has increased. So he has made a very nice PPT. Everything is on the increase. All the unwanted things are on the increase and good things are on the decline. He's made that. So even if it is possible to prolong life more than 100 years, advancement of human civilization does not necessarily follow. The Bhagavatam says that certain trees live for hundreds and thousands of years. And at Vrindavan there is a tamarind tree which is said to have existed since the time of Lord Krishna. In the Calcutta Botanical Garden, there is a banyan tree said to be older than 500 years. And there are many trees, like redwood trees live for 5,000, 7,000 years also. And these trees have existed when Lord Krishna came and spoke Bhagavad Gita and went. After that, Buddha came and went. Then when Jesus came and went, they all have come and given good teachings and gone, and the tree is just standing there with no transformation of heart. Correct, no? On the other hand, Prabhupada says, Shankaracharya lived only 32 years. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed only 48 years. But look at the impact these people made on the society all across the world. You can see that. So, whose life is quality life? These saintly people's life is quality life, or the tree's life is quality life? Because the tree is filling up the time wastefully. It is just drinking water and standing in one place without doing much. Some trees don't even give fruits also. They are only having thorny bushes. Correct now? Standing like this, what do you gain? Standing like this, isn't it? Good for nothing. So Prabhupada called it as a stand up on the bench punishment. Because they have been extremely lusty. So therefore they are given that punishment. Prabhupada was walking in one place with the disciples. He saw one tree was outside a big bungalow. And the branch of the tree was touching that, going inside the compound wall and touching that house like this. Prabhupada said, this fellow must have built this house before. And now he became a tree now. Now he is attached to the house, so he is touching the house now. Like a tree branch, he said. So, in this way, you find we have to know how to lead a quality life. That's what he is saying here. So he is saying, Swami Shankaracharya lived only 32 years. Lord Chaitanya lived 48 years. Does it mean that the prolonged lives of the above mentioned trees are more important than life of Shankara or Chaitanya? Prolonged life without spiritual value is not very important. One may doubt that trees have life because they do not breathe. But the modern scientists like Bose have already proved that the There is life in the plants. Bhagavatam says, a man may argue that, hey, why are you comparing me with trees? Don't you see? I am breathing. And then he's saying, even the bellows of a blacksmith are also. You have seen that they do like this? That is also breathing, he says. It's not that only you are breathing. Somebody may say that, don't you see that? I am a man, I am living, I have a wife, I have children, I go to office, I work. How do you compare me with the trees and billows of blacksmith? Then he is saying, look at the dog, he also has a she-dog. He also is roaming around in the village dog. And he is passing semen and increasing the number of puppies. How are you different from that, he is asking. Very strong, no? Yeah. See, Kim grame pasho apare means you think you are the only pashu, there are also other pashus are also there, like that he is saying. That means it's even more serious. See what he is saying? The specific utterance of Srimad Bhagavatam in regard to other animals, apare, means that the persons who are simply engaged in planning a better type of animal life consisting of eating, breathing and mating are also animals in the shape of human being. That means two-legged animal, Bhagavatam says. A society of such polished animals cannot benefit suffering humanity, for an animal can easily harm another animal, but rarely do good. Just see. So very, very powerful. So these shlokas are examples of how one can make one's life quality life or useless life, wasteful life. So actually, human body is the only body where you can cleanse the mind. A dog cannot chant or a cat cannot chant, correct? No? At the most, they can watch the Harinam passing. And sometimes they watch with wonder what is going on. But they can't chant like the way you can chant. Hare Krishna with your tongue, correct? No? And you can understand Bhagavad Gita, but they cannot. Prabhupada was in San Francisco. When he would come into the room, the students who would come to attend his program would, tie their dogs in one pole. And there was another pole for the cats also. They would tie it and keep it. When Prabhupada would come to the door, sometimes the dogs would be blocking the way. So he would take his stick and like that he would tap them that side. So they would move aside. And then Prabhupada came in. So there was one boy, Roger. He was not very happy. Why Swamiji says leave the pets outside? Why can't we keep them on our lap inside? Why can't we bring them in? As soon as Prabhupada sat, he began the talk. He said, this Krishna consciousness movement is not for the cats and dogs, he said. It's for the human beings, he said. Then he understood why cats and dogs are outside. Because if they can understand your class, you can bring them also inside, correct? No? They can't understand. Neither can they understand Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, nor can they chant the holy name, taking the beads. They only know eat, sleep, mate and defend. That's all they know. So we have the facility. But if we don't use the facility, we can become one of them. Today we are inside, we can be outside, along with them. And if you don't use this opportunity given to us, we should remember that. How do you change the body? Like night you sleep and get up in the next day morning, correct? No? Similarly, in one body you close the eyes, when you open, one is in a dog's body or a cat's body. It's quite possible. Or an angel's body. Sat asat yoni janmasu. Bhagavata says that. You can get a devata's body, or one can get an animal body also. It is like sleeping and getting up. When you sleep in one body, you get up in another body. That's how the soul changes from one body to another. So the time should be well spent. So regarding that, I want to show something. Just a minute. See, there's the 4 quadrants. First quadrant is called urgent and important. And second quadrant is called not urgent but important. The third quadrant is called not urgent but not important. And fourth is called not. So out of this, which is one which you feel immediately you would reject it? Fourth one. Because neither it is urgent nor it is important. After rejecting the like there are activities which are unproductive. Some boys come and waste your time, correct? No? When we were in hostel also, some 4 or 5 boys will come in a gang and enter your room. And they will waste your time also, their time also. Ha ha ha, he, who you have seen that? Huh? Therefore, night you should never be awake. Huh? You sleep at 9 o'clock and they will come and say, "Are so gaya abhi?" You slept, so they'll go away. Early morning, get up at 3:34, they will be sleeping. Correct, no? That's real intelligence to save your time, correct, no? Don't let the time wasters. Similarly, in the class also, in every classroom, at least there are 10-20% pious boys. You will see that. How many of you agree? At least 10-20%. Correct, no? So one of the first things you should do when you come to the college is to find out who are the little pious fellows who don't talk vulgar words or rubbish things. They don't do. They're good natured. So there's a possibility they may become devotees also. So you can catch 2 of them and make friendship with them and post them on either side of you like Jai Vijay. So keep them with you. On either side, two good boys, you sit in the middle. So you always get to hear pure things. They will not talk any rubbish. And if they are very smart in studies also, it's all the more better. Correct, no? Imagine sitting between 2 toppers. How many of you think is advantage? Correct, no? Because you know how smartly they capture, how they make notes, or if you have any clarification, you can ask them. One good thing with devotees is devotees are humble by nature, so they can make friendship with anybody. Correct, no? Make friendship with good people. Therefore, Chanakya says, if you go to your lion's den, you may get a moti of an elephant. He says, because sometimes the elephant is knocked down by a lion, and you can get a pearl from the forehead of a certain elephants have that. You can get that. On the other hand, if you go to the den of a fox, you will only get some punch. You'll get some tail of some small creature. Which means if you connect with great people, you get great things. If you connect with small people, you get small things. So it is in your interest and your intelligence that you should make an effort to connect with boys who will be virtuous and who will be studious, who will be smart in studies. So these are the 2 goals you have in life, correct, no? Spirituality and academics. So get boys who are academically astute and also have good character. Connect with them, put yourself in their company, and this will actually be fruitful to you. And you will see these guys are so smart. As soon as the bell rings, teacher is not coming, they'll go to library. You will see that. And they are always into studies and very, very focused. I really love focused people. In my college, I made friendship with 4 or 5 very focused fellows. Although I was not very focused, I had so many things I used to do, especially I used to like gardening very much. I used to make flowers and vegetables making and all that. I was also reading many spiritual books also. So I would go for the spiritual books. And I was very talkative also. So I used to talk philosophy and different things to people. But when I would see these fellows focused, because I was friends with them, by looking at them, I also developed focus after that. So therefore, 4th quadrant immediately you should delete. It's not urgent, not important, correct? No? And next to that, which one you should give up? The 3rd quadrant thing, what you should do, you don't have to do, you can delegate it. Okay, can some of you say, which things you feel you can delegate to somebody? You don't have to do it yourself. This is actually urgent but not important many times. Yeah.
News, like world news. I remember when I was in high school, I didn't really know much about the news or what was happening, but my friends would always bring it up in a conversation, be like, "Oh, this happened." Okay, so they would basically just
Trigger
it. Yeah, they just triggered it, and then
they'll go away.
They'll go away, and then I'd know, okay, this is happening, and then I wouldn't have to spend any extra time.
Correct. That's true, yeah. So actually, sometimes, like he said, if somebody says, "Hey, do you know what happened? In this part of the world, something is happening. It has come, morning news, it has come." Then immediately you open the computer, you go to connect with that, and then you find 1.5 hours has gone in that. Watching that. And first you watch that, then you understand that, then you're excited, then you tell other people, and they talk to you, and you talk to them, then you tell your opinion, they tell their opinion. One example, Bangladesh attacks, for example, correct, no? Which happened last year. Or Twin Tower crash, for example. So sometimes 2-3 hours goes in first watching and knowing and discussing and then telling your views, their views, correct? So instead what one can do, one can, if you heard the news, you can tell, like he says, you can tell the friend that, please tell me what is the synopsis of it, essence of it. Okay, 2 planes entered into 2 buildings and they crashed. Okay, who did that? Okay, what is his name, that fellow? Huh? Osama bin Laden. Okay. If somebody says why he did that, what is the reason? Okay, this is the reason. Okay. Uh, Now it's not such an emergency thing now. You will not die immediately without knowing more about it. There are so many, it's not very. So you can delegate somebody and say, hey, can you please find out some news and cut and send me? I'll be thankful. Because we should keep abreast of what's happening in the world. And he will go here, there and search the best news with photos and everything. He will cut and send you. And you can see that. That's what I do generally. Now, once in a week, one boy sends me what is happening in the world around. He sends me a news. And that's about 4 or 5 pages in once in a week. I go through it only 10 minutes only in a week. That's all. And that's it. You get the news. You don't have to waste your time. You can delegate the work to somebody. They will do it for you. Yeah. Similarly, there are certain things you can do share. Like you tell one boy, you make notes for that subject. You are very good at it. I'll make notes for this subject. Then we can share it. We can exchange. That is also delegating. So in this way, and also urgent, not important means what? Certain things, they may come and they may appear to be urgent, but then you realize that they are not that important. Anybody has an example like that? Like an urgent phone call comes to you, you are chanting the whole name. Somebody is asking, Prabhuji, Ekadashi days is mustard seed allowed? Somebody is asking. I used to tell them, ask the kitchen, keep it down. Hare Krishna, continue chanting. Correct, no? And if you say, oh really, I am not very sure whether mustard seed is allowed or that particular fruit is allowed. Wait a minute, I'll go to the Google search, find out and tell you. Actually, if you can do Google search, can't that fellow do? Google, everybody has Google Guru. Correct, no? So now you go to Google Guru for searching for the mustard seed and then you end up seeing this and another 2 hours are gone. Sitting with that. And that fellow who called you for the mustard seed, he is doing his work. So this is actually example of urgent and not important. That also you delete. So these 2 fellows have to be deleted at the bottom. Then these 2 are the important one. Decide what you want to do that is not urgent, important. For example, the beginning of the semester, for you, the examinations which will come 6 months later, is it urgent, important or not urgent, important? Not urgent, but important. Now when is the exam coming up for all of you? 3rd April. Now today is, now what is it? It's quadrant 1 or 2? Quadrant 1 now. Exam has come near now. Now it is urgent, important. So if some of you studied very well in these 6 months, last 6 months, now it's no problem for you, correct now? Then it won't be in crisis because for that you should have worked on quadrant 2. That means, gathering the books, collecting the notes and going through them day by day, month by month and everything, making your own notes and everything, just thoroughly studied with the subjects. That is in quadrant 2. And then you can perform. If you don't do in quadrant 2, it will come to quadrant 1. Like who is the kitchen head here? Who is the kitchen head? Kitchen department, who is leading? He's in kitchen, okay. Say the kitchen head is coming and telling the manager, Prabhu, the gas cylinder is getting over in 4 or 5 days. We want it. And the manager says, yes, I will tell him to go and bring. So he makes a phone call to the gas cylinder station, but nobody is lifting the phone. So he keeps it down. Now 2 more days passed and 3 days are only left. Again the kitchen is saying, Prabhuji, I told you 2 days ago. Yeah, I called, but that fellow didn't lift. Today I'll call, don't worry. And again he called at odd time and the shop didn't open or something. He thought I'll call in the evening. Evening he forgot. Then suddenly, the day before, he says, yeah, you personally go and get it. He says. So this fellow goes to get it. But then the person is locked and gone early or something. The next day morning you will find when the sabji is half cooked, it gets over. And that is in which quadrant? Urgent, important. Otherwise, how will you cook now without gas cylinder? How many of you have faced such crisis in your life? You faced right now? Like one subject, you didn't like it at all. Any one subject, anybody can name the subject which you didn't like? And therefore you didn't study from the beginning. You kept aside. Which one? Computer? Computer networks. Whenever you opened the book, it was making your head reel. Then I kept it aside. Baad mein dekhenge, not now. Keep it aside. And then toward the end of the semester, when exam comes, that time it goes from quadrant 2 to quadrant 1. Now I have not studied and it's also head breaking and now I can't understand. Some people cry also. How will I study now? I'm going to fail in the paper, correct now? Of course, quadrant 1. Therefore, quadrant 2 is Sattva-guna and quadrant 1 is Rajoguna. So Rajoguna is not totally bad, but Rajoguna should be supported by Sattva-guna. That means you plan in 2 and execute in 1. That means, up to, or in plan, if you plan very well, then execution will be very easy for you. When it becomes urgent, important, you will do it without tension. See, 2 boys have no tension. One who has studied the subject very well, one who has never touched the book. Because one who studied very well is going to get good marks. And one who has never touched the book knows, I will never pass at all. So why worry? Correct now? So in between, people suffer because they are half-baked. So, and in this quadrant of quality, many things are coming. See, empowering yourself with meditation, yoga, pranayama, or a healthy mind. And also keep your physical health good. And also plan for everything you do in advance to preventive maintenance, not breakdown maintenance. Self-development, relationship building. If you have relationship with many people, they can help you with the notes. They can help you, guide you and all that. Training, especially. Training yourself in skills and also education, all these things. Of course, this has more application when you grow in seniority. You can actually think of successors, you can empower them. So many things can be done. So then it will not come to. So this quadrant 2 is called decide. Quadrant 1 is called do now. And quadrant 3 is delegate. Quadrant 4 is delegate. Remember these 4 Ds. And now, you will find that quadrant 3 and 4, how they occupy our life, I have shown. Because quadrant 3 and 4 are in Rajoguna, Tamaguna. Quadrant 3 is Rajoguna, Tamaguna mixture. Quadrant 4 is only Tamaguna. You will find that. Now you can tell me whether it is Tamaguna, Rajoguna, Sattva-guna, you have to say. Yeah. Read the one of you, quickly read it, take the mic.
Never setting goals or setting goals and not sticking to them.
Which guna?
Tamoguna.
Tamaguna.
Moving around and socializing too much to feel security.
Yes? That's all Tamaguna, yeah.
Low level of concentration, getting easily distracted by trivial things.
This is Rajoguna. In Rajoguna, you have too many choices. Like if you give a person a TV, he goes to different channels, hopping and jumping. Hey, this is better. I'll try this. I try that. Or finally ends up doing nothing. You saw that monkey once I showed you, He's collecting everything, but he's not able to eat, correct? That is Rajoguna actually. Yeah.
Doing more than one thing at a time and accepting but unrealistic deadlines. Rajoguna. Getting involved in everything to gain credit and popularity. Indecisive and postponing decisions. Thinking no one else can manage my work if I'm absent. Feeling difficulty to work with highly accomplished and smart leaders.
This is possible in both in Tamaguna and Rajoguna. In Tamaguna, when you are feeling insecure, hey, this fellow is very smart in my team, maybe he will take over me. Like Indra feels. That is Tamaguna. Or if you are an individual player and you are not having the talent of team playing, as soon as a smart fellow comes, you say, you do your thing, I will do my thing. That means the Rajoguna it is. Yeah.
Forgetting things or badly organized unclean desk. Tamaguna. Looking for too much of perfection in job leading to micromanagement. Rajoguna.
Yeah, not letting people do the things, interfering with every small thing. So in this way, you can see these are all quadrant 3 and 4. Because I am giving you these things because you may want examples on what things you should delete from your life. Correct, no? So you can watch yourself, these kind of things. I have got another list of 32 time wasters. I'll check whether I can get that. This is what happens if you don't manage time properly. You run short of time, you lose temper, you accomplish very little of what you want to do things haphazardly, work with reduced efficiency, and you get overload and all that, isn't it? Hmm. And you find no time for relationship, prayer, reflection, and all that. If you don't manage time well. And now, why do you want to learn management? Because we want to organize our life, isn't it? You want to effectively utilize God-given time. You want to accomplish both short-term goal, long-term goal, not waste our time. Learn the art of working smarter, isn't it? Huh? See, these are the things you should organize in your life. 3 things in our life. Organizing things, organizing tasks, organization of people. Correct, no? Things means you're creating a place, all of you repeat this, a place for everything, everything in its place. Then you don't have to search anything. Correct, no? Yeah. And then tasks means to-do list. Make in the morning to-do list and try to complete as many as possible. An organization of people means defining what you can do and what others can do and delegating the work. These 3 things. See, these are things to do time, and you can save time, you can avoid wasting time, you can be time conscious at every moment, and knowing your type, am I Satoguna, Rajoguna, Tamaguna, and all that, and learning to delegate while working as a group. In a group. So here, time wasters, I'll show you. Avoid daydreaming. Don't be in blaming, mourning, wailing mode. Don't blaming, mourning, wailing. Blaming means Rajoguna, and mourning means Tamaguna. Wailing also Rajoguna. So don't be a manager. Be a manager. Don't be a producer. It means you don't have to do everything yourself. Some things you can delegate also. This fellow has no vision. He's shooting himself. You see, first vision, then action. And also, if you talk, if any of you found that you have a tendency to talk for a long time on phone, then later on you will get phobia for phone calls. Because whenever phone call will come, you'll think, hey, half an hour will go. Half an hour will not go. You have to learn to speak short. Yeah, just 2 minutes, finish off and keep it down. These are the time wasters. Sorry. Yeah. Yes, these are all time wasters. Doing things that need not be done at all. Doing something that could be and should be done by someone else. Things may be taking longer. See, wasting other people's time. We also waste others' time also. And having a second thought after people have done a great deal of work. Forgetting to pass information. Asking people to see you about something and then neglecting. Holding sudden meetings. Allowing interruptions. So many examples are there. These are time wasters. Sorry, this is okay. This is always being. Yeah. See? First this fellow puts water, then sand, and this. Here you see, first he puts rocks, correct, no? Now he filled up everything. That's what I said. So you all got an idea. Now we'll conclude with this. I have to go to temple to attend the program. Maharaj must have started now. Shri Prabhupada ki